The birth of Earth millions. Of years ago, long before human civilization or any life as we know it today, the Earth was a completely different place. In fact, there was a time when Earth didn't even exist. Scientists believe that our planet was formed around 4.5 billion years ago from a massive cloud of gas and dust that surrounded the young sun. This cloud, called the solar nebula, collapsed under its own gravity and began to spin, eventually forming the planets, including Earth. In its earliest form, Earth was a ball of molten lava. The surface was extremely hot, unstable, and constantly bombarded by meteors and asteroids. There were no oceans, no continents, no atmosphere, and certainly no life. This period is known as the Hadean Eon, named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, a reference to the hellish conditions of early Earth. Part 2. Formation of the atmosphere and oceans. As millions of years passed, Earth slowly began to cool. The outer layer hardened into a solid crust, although volcanoes and molten lava were still common. One of the most important changes was the release of gases from volcanoes, which led to the formation of a primitive atmosphere. This early atmosphere was very different from today's. It was mostly made up of carbon dioxide, water vapor, ammonia, and methane. Eventually, the water vapor in the atmosphere cooled and began to condense, falling as rain. It rained for thousands of years, filling the low areas of the crust and forming the first oceans. These early oceans were full of minerals and had no oxygen, but they were the perfect environment for the next major event in Earth's history, the beginning of life. Part 3. The first life forms. Scientists believe that life on Earth began about 3.5 to 4 billion years ago in the oceans. The earliest life forms were very simple, single-celled organisms called prokaryotes. These microscopic beings didn't need oxygen to survive. In fact, Earth at that time didn't even have oxygen in its atmosphere. One of the most important early organisms were cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. These tiny creatures had the incredible ability to perform photosynthesis, using sunlight to produce energy and releasing oxygen as a byproduct. Over millions of years, the oxygen released by cyanobacteria began to accumulate in the atmosphere. This led to a dramatic change known as the Great Oxygenation Event, which made Earth's atmosphere suitable for more complex forms of life. Part 4. The rise of complex life. With more oxygen in the air and oceans, life on Earth began to evolve and become more complex. Around 600 million years ago, during a period called the Ediacaran period, the first multicellular organisms appeared. These were soft-bodied creatures that lived in the ocean. Then, around 540 million years ago, life experienced a sudden explosion of diversity known as the Cambrian explosion. During this time, a huge number of new species appeared, including the ancestors of most modern animals. Earth's oceans became full of strange and wonderful creatures like trilobites, jellyfish, early fish, and sea worms. On land, however, things were still barren. There were no plants, no insects, and no animals. It wasn't until around 470 million years ago that the first plants began to grow on land, followed by insects and small animals. Part 5. The Age of Dinosaurs. Fast forward to about 250 million years ago, and we enter the Mesozoic era, the Age of Dinosaurs. During this time, Earth's continents were joined together in one massive landmass called Pangaea. The climate was warm, and forests of ferns and conifers covered the land. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 160 million years. They evolved into a wide variety of forms, from the towering Tyrannosaurus rex to the gentle, long-necked Brachiosaurus. Birds also began to evolve from small, feathered dinosaurs. At the same time, the first mammals and flowering plants appeared. Earth's ecosystems were thriving, but around 66 million years ago, a giant asteroid struck the planet, leading to a mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs and many other species.